Be careful with this one. Here we go. 2x squared plus 3x. Charlie, what do you think?
X times x plus...
I'm not sure what Charlie's trying to say there, but you cannot combine these because here you have x squareds and you have x's. It's like saying if you have 2 apples and somebody gives you 3 pears, what do you get? Do you have 5 apple pears? What? You can't combine these. So this problem you cannot combine because they are not like terms. So be careful with those. Trick question. Okay, let's go to our another one here. 7x to the 4th y cubed minus 4x to the 4th y cubed. Now, Charlie, are these like terms?
Yes.
Yes, they are. Very nice, Charlie. Now, remember, when you're looking for like terms, basically, okay, you take the coefficients and kind of in your mind set them aside and make sure everything else matches up. Notice we have x to the 4th y cubed. And the next one is also x to the 4th y cubed. So basically what you have here is 7 x to the 4th y cubes. Take a break. Okay. Now add 3 more, subtract. Subtract 4 x to the 4th y cubed. So it's basically like doing a basic arithmetic problem. 7 subtract 4 is 3. And 7x to the 4th y cubes, take away 4x to the 4th y cubes, leaves you with how many left, Charlie?
3 of them.
3 of them. So that's 3x to the 4th y cubed. Very nice, Charlie. We're doing fine. Okay, let's go on to another problem here. Okay, now let's talk about the cases where you have to multiply exponents. Basically, when you're raising to a higher power is when you multiply. But let's talk about why that is. Okay? So here we go, Charlie. We have x squared y cubed as our base, all being raised to the 3rd power. Now remember, we're first got to take care of that exponent outside. Or rather, we have to understand what that exponent outside the parentheses means. It means take whatever's in your parentheses and take 3 of them and multiply them together. So let's write that out. There it is. See, x squared y cubed is the base, and you're multiplying 3 of them together. There it is. Now remember, everything here is being multiplied. So let's list everything separately in this fashion here. It's just x squared times y cubed times x squared times y cubed times x squared times y cubed. Now Charlie, how many x's are up there total? 6? That's right, there is 6 of them because x squared times x squared times x squared, there's 6 x's there being multiplied. Remember, x squared means x times x. Now Charlie, we have y cubed times y cubed times y cubed in there. How many y's are there all together, Charlie?
9.
There's 9 of them and they're all being multiplied together. And so that will give us our y to the 9th. Very nice, Charlie. Okay, well, let's make a note here. Notice here that when we took x squared y cubed as the base and raised to the 3rd power, we end up with x to the 6th times y to the 9th. And of course, we can use a little the rule here and say 2 times 3 is what, Charlie?
6.
That's right, 6. And what's 3 times 3?
9.
9. Okay, so let's run through this. Let's take x squared raised to the 3rd power. You said 2 times 3 is 6, so that gives us our x to the 6th. Right there. Okay. And now let's go to our next one here. Y to the 3rd raised to the 3rd. What's 3 times 3, Charlie?
9.
9. And therefore, there is our answer there. X to the 6th, y to the 9th. Okay. Let's try another one here. We have 2x cubed y to the 5th. Okay. Now, remember, that's just a 2 by itself. There is no exponent on the 2, but you can write it as a 1. Meaning, you can write the exponent as a 1. 2 to the 1st power is the same as 2. You have to realize that because when we deal with a 2 and we raising to a 2nd power, we have to multiply the exponent on the 2, and it's assumed to be a 1. So Charlie, what's 1 times 2?
2.
It's 2. So there we have it, 2 squared. Because 1 times 2 was 2. Now let's go to the next one. We have x cubed raised to the second power. We multiply the exponent, Charlie. So what do we get? What's 3 times 2?
6.
6. So that gives us x to the 6th. And now bring us home, Charlie, with that y. Y to the 5th raised to the 2. What's 5 times 2?
10.
10. So that's y to the 10th. Now, we can write our answer as 2 squared times x to the 6th times y to the 10th. But you should know what 2 squared means. 2 squared means 2 times 2. And Charlie, what's 2 times 2?
4.
4. He better get that right. Anyway, there we go there. That's a 4 for our final answer. 4x to the 6th, y to the 10th. Okay, we got one last problem for this lecture here. Let's step it up a bit and start with this one. We have 2, x to the minus 3, y to the 5th, z to the minus 1. And remember, we want to write our answers with positive exponents only. So we'll deal with those negative exponents when we get to our final answer here. Okay, Charlie, so now let's raise into a negative 2 power. We multiply the exponents. Remember that 2, we assume the exponent is a 1. And so we go ahead and say what, Charlie? What's 2 raised to the negative 2? 2 to the negative 2. Now, Charlie, what's x to the negative 3 raised to the negative 2? Be careful. A negative 3 times a negative 2 is a what, Charlie?
Positive 6.
Positive 6. There we go. So that gives us x to the positive 6. Now, let's take a break. Okay, we're ready to go. Y to the 5th raised to the negative 2. Charlie, that's y to the what power?
Negative 10.
Negative 10. Okay, Charlie, bring us home with that z. Z to the negative 1 raised to the negative 2 is z to the what power, Charlie?
Positive 2.
Positive 2. There we go. Now, we're back to our negative exponents, dealing with negative exponents. So we're going to move things around. We're going to have a rational expression as our answer. So, let's start with the 2 to the negative 2. Charlie, what are we going to do with that one?
Take it to the bottom.
Move it to the bottom, it becomes 2 squared. Okay. How about the x to the 6th? Do we need to move that?
No.
Nope, that stays there on the top. Okay, Charlie. Y to the negative 10. We're going to take that one to the
bottom.
Bottom. There we go. Y to the 10th. And now the z squared, Charlie. Do we need to move that?
No.
No. You leave it right there. Your answer is z squared. And now to be proper, we're not going to leave that 2 squared there. We're going to write 2 squared as a what, Charlie?
4.
4. There we go. That's it. And that is enough to deal with for now. That takes care of integer exponents. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about some other things like the greatest common factor, multiplying polynomials. That's coming up. And then the big time factoring. Ooh, that's going to be so much fun. Anyway, we'll see you all next time.